Hey everybody, today I had a great opportunity to sit down here with a bunch of cellmates. We talked about transitioning veterans. We talked about clients needing help like that. We talked about our 2024 strategic goals for Fusion Cell. This is how we're gonna win this year. Take a look. All right, Eddie Brock.
Eddie Brock.
21 years on active duty Navy.
Correct.
However, you never stepped a foot on a boat. Is that correct?
Yeah, never once was I on one of those gray things that floats above the water and or one of the black things that goes below the water intentionally.
That's awesome. And why is that? What did you do?
So while I was in the Navy, I was an engineering aide with the Seabees. So we do construction all around the world, deployed all over the place. And then, so I did that for the first 14 years. And then the last 7 years, I did a career field switch and I finished off my career on Navy recruiting as a career recruiter.
That's awesome, and that's part of the deal why you landed here at Fusion Cell, right?
That's right, boss.
Skill set and experience, right? Gets you hired. That's great. Talk to me about your current position. So you are now in a sourcing department, which falls under the delivery of our organization here at Fusion Cell. Tell me what your regular day looks like.
Yeah, so we're looking for veteran candidates to fill different types of roles that fall into the different verticals that we have, whether it be manufacturing, construction, or the government. Some of those overlap, so we're utilizing our connections and our networks to find candidates for these different roles, utilizing different platforms.
While you are working in sourcing department, what are the platforms that you are leveraging to find all these great candidates?
Oh yeah, so we're using multiple different platforms. We're using Indeed, LinkedIn, Roadtext, just to name a few. We got a couple others that we gotta keep those under wrap. Kind of top secret stuff.
And you also worked as a tech recruiter for about a year or so.
Yeah, so when I first retired from the Navy and got into the civilian workforce, I started off with a tech company where we were creating entry-level software developers and data engineers. And yeah, you're right. So it was about a year and a half I was working with them.
All right, and some of the most recent candidates that you've been filtering for, searching for, they are civil engineer technicians, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So civil engineer technicians.
Talk to me a little bit more about how that particular skill set for folks coming out of the military in that particular vertical, how does that apply to a civilian world?
Well, so from personal example, it applies very well, as that's one of the things that I did while I was in the Navy as an engineering aide, which equivalates to multiple other MOSs and AFCs in the other branches as well. But for me personally, it wasn't that difficult because that's what I did. And not only did I do the job, but I was an instructor for the job. And it's where it can convert over to do very similar things that we did, whether it's with construction management, drafting, land surveying, material testing, and things of that nature, and managing the overall day-to-day of a construction project.
Yeah, that's the exciting part about personnel at Fusion Cell. Bringing people in here that have done, not only that they are phenomenal recruiters, because at some point they pivoted into the recruiting career field, but they have done jobs that our candidate or that our clients are looking for, right?
Yeah, it's kind of that validation aspect that we really are looking for, and it kind of helps, to be able to relate to those candidates and be like, hey, I walked in your shoes before. I've walked the walk, and now I'm talking the talk. So
and that's awesome.
And just putting it all on the table.
No, we are so aligned, because that's the same line I was about to use. So this is great. Why don't you tell me a little bit about something that's most dear to your heart and special about Fusion Cell?
The community we have, the inner working relationships, the communication that we have. We have staff members from, the Army, the Air Force. We even got a Coast Guard guy. Like, who would have thought that, right? But it's those different perspectives, those different experiences. And the other thing is that a lot of us are all retired. We did 20 plus years, and at the end of the day, I know I can speak for myself and probably for most of the team on this same aspect, is that really at the end of the day, we just want to give back to our community, help those service members that are transitioning from active duty, or even if they're in the Guard or Reserves, and helping them land that next big thing. At the end of the day, that's where a lot of our passion really lies, is helping those veteran communities in that next step of life.
What do you think the main difference is between being a recruiter in the military and being a recruiter now, here working in a staffing industry, in Fusion Cell?
I would say it's similar in a lot of aspects. We're providing an opportunity to people. While I was in the Navy as a recruiter, I was providing an opportunity for a civilian to start a career and build a foundation for their future, for them and their family. And now on this other side, I get to do just the opposite and provide that next stepping stone and that next opportunity for that veteran that is coming back to the civilian sector. There's a lot of similarities into it. So it's one of those things that I used to hear all the time in the military was same, but different.
Right.
So it's real cool, and at the end of the day, it's what I wake up every day for.
Do
to help somebody.
Do you think there's more pressure on this side of the house? Working with folks that are transitioning out of the military, or maybe even veterans than when they were first coming into the military?
I would say it's similar, but not the same, right? I would say yes, there's pressure in trying to help translate that information. But now we're just translating it backwards. Whereas we're taking a civilian and translating what the military can provide them. Now we're taking and translating what the military provided them and translating that into the civilian sector, right? How can I put your military experience on paper to explain that to a hiring manager that's never worked with anybody in the military? How can I explain that? How can I help you explain that to them? So yeah, I would say that, yeah, there's still some pressure. It's just different pressure.
Sure. In your own words, what's the most important advice that you could give to a transitioning member?
It's not too early to start. It's not too early to start.
I agree.
It's
Do you think that they start way too soon or way too late?
I would say, and in my own case, yeah, most definitely. I probably should have started. I hear it a lot now, is about 24 months, 2 years before separation, is really when you should start that transition and building those things and stuff like that. Now that's for somebody that did a 20-year career. When we were a little younger, if you do 4 years, might not be as much, but if you do a full career at 20 plus, then you definitely need to really focus on those 2 years. And start building that network and casting out that net of, who do you want to be when you grow up? I've been out of the military for over 2 years, and I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do and who I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah,
I've landed in a good spot that's helping me get closer and closer to that every single day.
Yeah, we talked a lot about identity with a previous person I was sitting down here with, and military is part of your identity.
Yeah.
When you are in the military, when you leave, it's kind of no longer part of it, although it is, on the inside, but you need to figure out who you are, as you said, who you are as you grow up. So that's pretty good. I love it. Is there anything else you want to cover? Just something that, hey, you really want to get that out and advice to transition community? Yeah,
one thing is take the risk, right? When you make that decision, plan and do it as much as you can. And I can use myself again as an example. Rad, we talked about this earlier, and multiple times, is when I made that decision to retire, I decided to move to Hawaii. And pick that location, find something that works for you. The biggest thing, I guess, is out of that is find that happy place, right? Whether it's an actual physical location, whether it's a specific career field you're in, but once you make that decision on whatever it is, go all in and do everything that you can to effectively plan. Honestly, that's what I did. My family and I, we decided that Hawaii was the spot. A lot of people think we're crazy that we just packed up and moved. We didn't have any so-called friends. We had acquaintances there, no family. But that was our decision. We did it, and we prepped financially, mentally, all that good stuff. And we just pulled the trigger, and when we did, we went all in. So whatever that decision is I'd say go all in and do everything that you can and all the planning that you can to make it happen.
That's another strong soft skill of military personnel that you describe, right? When we prep way ahead of time.
Oh, yeah.
We put a really good war plan together, right? We outline all the items and then we go and execute. So, and obviously you practiced that before, every single, permanent change of station that you went through.
Oh, definitely.
So none of
Just
that
a
was a strange thing to you, other than you said, hey, I'm moving to Hawaii and that's gonna be my new home. It's gonna be a permanent place where you're gonna live, right?
That's right, aloha.
That's awesome, love it.
So my advice to a transitioning service member is it's not too early to start.